Good afternoon. I'm here today at 85 Watkins Street in Brownsville, Brooklyn. And I first want to thank Michael Thompson for having the courage to put this together in a community that lacks direction and lacks vision. My name is Bishop Whitehead. If you don't know who I am, Bishop Lamor Whitehead. I'm a presiding bishop of Leaders of Tomorrow Brooklyn Ministry. My ministry is curtailed to young people, advocating for the streets, advocating for hip-hop, bringing the celebrities to the community, allowing community to be introduced to politics. Now, one of my concerns, because these great young men that was before me had already articulated a lot of the things that we were here today for. One of the main things that I want to talk about real brief, and I have some notes, I usually don't read off of notes, but I want to be politically correct. The main reason why I was here today is to hear what's going on in Brownsville, to understand what's going on with our youth. But more specifically is the district attorney's race. Patricia Gatling was supposed to be here as a panelist, and she didn't show up, which is whatever. You must call out and reach to Michael Thompson and say, I could not be there. Okay, this is the community. If you're running for the district attorney's office, you have to be there if you already gave a confirmation that you were going to be here. If you were invited, you're supposed to be here. You are supposed to call before you come if there's a problem. So that's a problem with me. But I had some questions for her because I'm watching this candidacy very, very close, because it's not about me, but it's about my children. Whoever goes into the Brooklyn District Attorney's office this term will be there for a long time, all right? And when we have a high ratio of killings in Brownsville, in East New York, Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, and Coney Island, so forth and so on, I need to understand who's prosecuting. I need to understand if a police officer kills a young black man, who's gonna prosecute him? Who's gonna step up? So one of the questions that I had for Patricia Gatling was, as I did my research, she was over the civil rights, she was the civil rights commissioner under Bloomberg. So as she was the civil rights commissioner over Bloomberg, Patricia Gatling was Mayor Bloomberg's civil rights commissioner during the peak of stop and frisk era. So Mr. Thomas, one of the topics was stop and frisk. So I wanted to know more in detail who she was. So as I did my research, it says when the NYPD was making hundreds of thousands of stops a year, these stops were later found to be unconstitutional, violations of civil rights, and the city was forced to significantly change their policies approach to submit to our federal government. There is no record of Gatling condemning the violations of civil rights commissioner. Her mention of stop and frisk seemed to be only investigating retail stores, and when black young men or women of African descent is in retail stores and they're stopped, then she will try to execute. That's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for me. Also, I did more investigation that there were 4,763 discrimination complaints, and she only talked about 428 cases. She only took 428 cases. This is alarming to me. This is alarming to me. And then she was in the office from 2002 to 2013, and she did not leave office until she was forced out of office because public advocate Letitia James was the one who called for her to be removed because under the civil rights commissioner, she wasn't making no noise. So therefore, the public advocate had to send a letter to Mayor de Blasio to remove her, and thereafter she was removed. So my question is, do we understand about this race of the district attorney's office, right? Are we doing the research for our children, right? And is this a race just for you to say you was in the race? Or are you really connected to our community? And if you was a civil rights commissioner and for 10 to 11 years, and out of 4,700 cases, you only entertained 428 cases, are you really equipped to take care of our community. Not only he didn't show up to a young man's town hall meeting, Michael Thomas, where me and him spoke, and his phone rings over and over. Come over here, Mike. Over and over again with parents that need him to come down to the police station, where he helps children with law to protect themselves, right? And you don't show up. That's disturbing to me. That's disturbing to me because all of us are busy. I'm a bishop. My phone rings all day, and I'm running to my radio station in a few minutes. But I wanted to be here to support this young man. But if you're a panelist, what does this say to our community? I'm watching this race closely. I'm watching this race closely because it's about our youth. It's not about me. It's not about Mike. It's not about any of you, but it's about our community. So I'm here today in full support. You can call me whenever. The next time you have it, I'll be here. I'm going to be watching closely because this district attorney race, as far as my understanding, is the most important race that's in our community because our young men and our young women are being buried by prosecution. And we need to step up for that. I was illegally convicted. So this is personal for me. I understand how the judges duped me. I understand how the police set me up. I understand how the district attorneys went to a different level when they did that to me. So therefore, this is personal to me. And what they do is they pile paperwork on top of your name and tell you to get it back on appeal. And our community don't have money to pay appeals lawyer. So what do we do next? You have to suffer with 25 years to life. So this is something that we have to take in consideration. A no-show is not good. If there's a conflict of days, if you think it's a conflict of days, you reach out to this man. And that's not good. So I give you my blessing, brother, and I'm here for you.
Just piggyback on what the bishop said. Just to tell you what he was saying about the stop and frisk whole that, that we have a federal judge that showed that the stop was unconstitutional. It was 684,000 stops, and only 1,000 of them was done on Caucasians and other people. The rest was done on blacks and Hispanics. So we want to let the people know that what he was saying about Patricia Gatling, the board shows that stop and frisk is a great tool, but it has to be used in the guidelines of with the police, how they use it, because they cannot break the law to enforce the law, because the police officers are the protectors of the law. But when they take the laws into their own hands, then they become just as bad as the people that break the law themselves. So this is one of the main things that we wanted to focus on. I learned a lot from Chucky Berkley, Jerome, Larry Payton. Come up here. And these are the brothers that's in the struggle with us, that we want to educate our people on the stop and frisk, because this is one of the main components that the NYPD use to incarcerate our young people. And it's so very important that they understand their Fourth Amendment rights under this, because when you don't know these rights here, they violate you. I would advise everybody a book that Chucky Berkley got called out as Survival, that we're going to keep pushing for our people in the community to get, so they can understand the dynamics of this, so our young people, and even people of our age, if you don't know your rights when you're getting approached by the cops, under the stop and frisk, you could very well be locked up. But under Giuliani and under Bloomberg, the cops were able to do all they stop and frisk illegal and didn't have to worry. But under Mayor de Blasio, what he has now, any stop and frisk, you have to give a receipt. And in your days, it was called a 250 form?
Yes, a US 250.
A US 250 that, I'll let Chuck explain that. He could tell you more about the stop and frisk with the 250 forms when you're being stopped.
Well, back then, I joined the police department back in 1984. I retired in 2004 after 20 years. Back then, during the 80s and the 90s, the police officers had to fill out a UF 250, and all that report said is that the police officer stopped the individual and they really didn't have to give a reason. That was wrong back then, because police were violating people's rights, right? Because you had no reason to stop a person, you was only doing it for activity. And from there it gotten worse, right? And now we have, with de Blasio trying to give out a receipt or whatever, I can understand that, but what we really want is we want the cops to abide by the law. If you don't have a reason to stop nobody, don't stop them. Keep those forms in your pocket. You know, don't come out here and violate people and think you're going to get away with it, because it stops now. All of us here, Mike Thomas, the Bishop, Larry, who live in Brooklyn, right? If you're doing it in Brooklyn, these are the people to call. You're doing it in Harlem or the Bronx, you got Jerome and I, right? Or anywhere else in this city, because we don't want Queens and Staten Island to think that they're being left out. If people think they're being wrong, get in touch with us, our organizations, and we will come out and we will back you up. But one thing we ask is you gotta be right. Don't call us when you're wrong, you know, and think that we want to back you up when you're wrong. That's not what we're doing. But if you're right, you can call on us, count on us, and we'll be there for you.
When somebody stops you, tell us what they should do. If somebody stops, what should our black men do? Period.
If the police stop you, always remain calm. You know, tell them in a nice voice, right? Ask them why you being, don't ask them why you being stopped. When the police stop you and you know you haven't done anything wrong, just say this to the police officer. Officer, am I under arrest? And if that officer says no, then you proceed on your way. If the officer says, well, stop, I want to ask you a question, all you say is again, officer, am I under arrest? You don't answer no questions, and you don't give out no answers. It's officer, am I under arrest? And if he's not going to arrest you, then eventually he's going to let you go. Because if you need the police, then you'll call the police.
And just to piggyback on that, one thing our people have to do when you get stopped by the police, ascertain information, names, shield numbers. If it's a blue and white car, get the number to the car. If it's an undercover car, make sure you get the license plate, because what happened with a lot of our youth, from my experience, they get stopped by the cops, and then when I ask them what happened, they don't have the officer's name, they don't have no shield number, they don't have no license plate, and the commanding officers in the precincts know who these guys are, but they're not going to help us. So we have to have information so we can work with that, and once we get that information, we will get answers.